Well, here we are again from the CSN Centers for Academic Success, and today we're going to talk about synthesis and how it can support your writing. Before we start though, I'll remind you, as always, to visit the centers at any main campus to talk with a tutor and clear up any questions you may have with the topics discussed here. Synthesis is really about organizing your research by respective ideas. It offers multiple sources as evidence or support for your own point or counter-argument. Synthesizing your work means effectively communicating your own ideas, drawing upon other sources for support of those ideas. When directed to synthesize your work, be careful to not just provide a series of summaries of all of your sources. You don't want to throw in a bunch of quotes without showing the relationship between them, because in the end, the goal is for you to write about your ideas. So let's take a look at a few examples. In this first example, the author provides a long list of direct quotes from various sources, leading from one source to another, and doesn't provide much in the way of their own writing. As we move on, there is some movement in the right direction. Between drafts 2 and 3, the writer begins to break up the various sources and starts to show more of their own voice. In the fourth draft, notice how the writer has finally interwoven their original ideas alongside their sources. This is what synthesis truly is, creating a mesh of existing content to produce new, substantial content that is capable of standing as its own piece of academic literature. Before we go, let's listen to a few notes on synthesis from Brendan Shapiro. Here are his top tips.
Hello, my name is Brendan Shapiro, and I have taught English at the College of Southern Nevada since 2018. Here are my top tips for using synthesis in your writing. Tip number 1, read and take notes on your sources. Organize notes by theme or main idea, not source by source. Often, students want to proceed from one source to another, listing their notes or summaries or critiques one at a time. But when you do this, you aren't making connections between your sources or their arguments. And that's your task in synthesis. So to help you do that, tip number 2, use a synthesis matrix that includes sources, main ideas, and your own thoughts on each. The matrix is a useful tool to help you organize the many different sources and data you'll encounter in your research, as well as your own thoughts on how they fit together and what you want to say about each of them. And once you've got them all down in one place, you can finally start writing. For that, tip number 3, when writing, be sure to cite multiple sources in each paragraph and explain the connections between their ideas. So if you have only one source per paragraph, even if you're citing that multiple times, you're not really synthesizing. Again, you're summarizing and moving on to something else. Similarly, if you have multiple source citations from different sources in the same paragraph, but you don't explain how they connect, then those connections will not be clear to your reader. You're not doing the crucial work of putting these sources in conversation. So always take time to spell out the connections between these sources and their ideas, even if those connections seem obvious to you. If you do that, you're doing the work of synthesis. That's it. I hope you have a great experience with academic writing at CSN. Bye-bye.
Thanks again for watching. Visit the centers to discuss these ideas and any other questions you may have. See you next time.